Oh, hello, it is I, your boy Gomi, and we are back with another UFC fight tonight. Once again, we are traveling. We're going back to Abu Dhabi for actually a pretty solid fight card. I do like this fight card. Kind of questioning why that is the co-main event. I did not know Shara Bullet was that popular over there. To be honest, there's two fights I would have expected to be the co-main event over it, but oh well, this is still a pretty solid card overall. Coming off last week, which was ass. I don't think 304 was very good, which is a shame because I was super hyped for it. Patty, Mick, Tom, Patterson, they were good. Everything else, giant stinker. I'm gonna get things out the way. Only reason you like the main event was because you liked the upset. Otherwise, it was pretty boring. It was pretty frustrating watching Blau. Could have easily finished Leon Edwards. But also, while the card wasn't good, I wonder if the fact that it was at 5 a.m. for the UK fighters, I wonder if that had anything to do with the card being pretty lackluster. Such a shame. The British crowd is so good, and they just got screwed over heavily. But oh well. Regardless, this card doesn't have any of that BS. It's going to start very early, and oh boy, I'm fine with the early cards. I love literally just gonna wake up and pop the fights on, but I guess Dana thinks people don't. Oh well. Regardless, let's start looking at this card. Like I said, it's a solid card, but it's gotta start with some shit, which is Cedricus Dumas versus Dennis Tulan. I've been very vocal about what I think about Cedricus Dumas. If you follow the channel a little bit, you know that I refuse to pick you if you've lost to guys like Cody Brundage, Josh Fremd, hint wink wink, and any of the Dawkins brothers. I'm also going to put Shannon Ross on there, but nobody in the UFC has lost to Shannon Ross. But yes, Cedricus Dumas, he's fighting these guys like an Abu Izatar, Josh Fremd, Cody Brundage, all these very mid-tier level fighters. He's fighting all these guys, and he's losing to some, winning to some. Dennis Tulan, on the other hand, is just also not very good, but at least he's losing to some decent guys like Ikram Aliskerov. I'm not giving up on him yet. Still think he's good. He lost to Jung Young Park. Good. CLD, good. He just lost to Gregory Rodriguez, who Dennis Tulan also lost to. He's losing to good guys, but he's losing, showing that no matter how you look at it, this is a bottom tier matchup. I don't want to pick Dennis Tulan. I don't want to pick Cedricus Dumas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save you the trouble. Don't bet on this fight. Don't bet on this fight. It's garbage. Cedricus Dumas by sub is the most likely, but I'm not picking that. I'm sticking by my rule. I'm sticking by it. You will not have me pick anyone who loses to Josh Fremd, so get this out of my face. Jai Herbert versus Ronaldo Bedoya. Jai Herbert has never been the same since Ilia Topuria knocked him the F out. He's never been the same. He's been more hesitant, more gun shy. He's picked up a win, he's picked up a draw, and then he lost to Fares Ziam, who I don't know. I felt like he probably should have did better against Fares Ziam, to be honest. He looked very gun shy, very tentative. He's a very big welterweight, or lightweight. He's a very big lightweight. I forgot because Bedoya fought at welterweight. He's very big for the division, taller than Bedoya, reach advantage, but he doesn't get to exploit it as much anymore. And he lost to a featherweight. He lost to the featherweight champion, granted, but he lost to a featherweight. I just don't think he's all that there. And I think Bedoya, he's a dog, and I think he can crack pretty decently well. So I do wonder if he's going to be able to knock out Jai Herbert. I definitely am not leaning towards Jai Herbert. I believe he's actually the favorite, so let's look at it. Yep, he's a favorite. I lean towards Bedoya. I don't know. Bedoya overperformed his fight against, I believe it was Chaos Williams, where he looked really good. And even though he lost, we were like, yo, this guy's actually pretty solid. Went up against Kenan Song, you're like, I don't know what I saw in him. But what I did see is I think someone who could beat Jai Herbert at this stage. Old school Jai Herbert, nah. Current Jai Herbert, I just don't think he's that good anymore. So give me Ronaldo Bedoya, but I'm going to take him by I might as well take him a decision. I don't know. He can knock out Herbert, but I'm not gonna count on it. You know what's going decision though? Victoria Dudakova versus Sam Hughes. Victoria Dudakova is still undefeated, but oh boy. I believe in her last fight. I think I was really high on her. I was like, oh, she should take out Jin Frey. That should be an easy fight. I don't overthink, blah, 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 blah. And then I watched the fight and went, wow, this is women's MMA. And I thought Victoria Dudakova, she was looking good. And again, that's on the regional scene. And the Estela Nunes fight, we didn't get enough off that fight. Sam Hughes, on the other hand, I think she's got some dog to her. She looks pretty tough, but lots of losses. Wins, loss. She also beat Estela Nunes. It's just, she doesn't look good. Only knockout or only finish she's gotten, it was against Elise Reed, who's also not that good. So I don't know. I think Victoria Dudakova should win this fight, but I'm not super confident in her. I don't want to go, oh yeah, easy win. She'll definitely whatever. I'm not going to boast that same level of confidence going off her last performance. I think she should beat a Sam Hughes, but I'm not going to go out here and say, oh, she should steamroll her. It's probably going to be a decision. I think Victoria Dudakova is a decision. And now Graham Kutadladze versus Jordan Vivicic. Jordan. I'm not super familiar with Jordan. This is a short notice replacement fight. All I know about Jordan was I believe he was a featherweight at Cage Warriors. He seemed pretty solid. He seemed overall pretty solid. I don't have a ton, like I said, to go off on him, but I know Graham Kutadladze. I know how good he can be. He's had some setbacks. His last fight against Elvis Brennen, it was bad, and it was a year ago too, but like he just gave up. He's simply that. He just gave up. This is a guy that a lot of people saw as potentially a future of the division. Then because he beat Matheus Gamrot, which is insane, the fact that he was able to do that. Split decision, yes, but we were like, this guy might be something. And then he lost to Damir Ismagulov, who also got fraud checked, and then he lost to Elvis Brennen. So I don't know. Elvis Brenner's dog tough, so that's something to say, but Graham Kutadladze, I could see him gas out. I could see him give up. I don't know. Jordan, haven't seen a ton of him, but he seems like a very technical kickboxer. I lean Graham Kutadladze, but I don't think this is a fight you should bet on. Shamil Gaziev versus Dontel Mays. Wow, Shamil Gaziev went from headlining a card, booted all the way down to the prelims, underneath Alonzo Medfield. And Mohammed Yaya. Okay. That's a fall from grace if I've ever seen one. But it's to be expected. Gotta quit. First loss, and he didn't take it very well. I'm not high in Shamil Gaziev after that fight. He was a lot of people's lock of the night. I know he was my lock of the night. He looked awful. But here's the thing. Dontel Mays, he always looks pretty bad. Man, I was saying this is a good card. I'm doing nothing but thrashing these fights. I'm not being very positive with these fights, but I'm being realistic with you on these fights. Dontel Mays has shown that he does not have a high-level skill set at the UFC level. He's only beating a Caio Machado, who I don't think's that good, and an older Andrei Arlovski. Otherwise, he's losing against Gon, which is not bad, but you got submitted by Gon, who has no ground game, but still. Nascimento, Sakai, Nascimento again. It's kind of sus. I don't know how I really feel about Dontel Mays, to be perfectly honest with you. I just know I feel like I don't know how I feel about Shamil Gaziev, to be honest with you. I know how I feel about Dontel Mays, but I think he can beat a Dontel Mays, Shamil Gaziev. I think he can knock him out too. Dontel Mays, he might be able to get him down to the ground, and if Shamil might not be able to get up, but if this stays on the feet, Mays has the reach advantage, but he doesn't know how to use it, and Gaziev does hit pretty hard. It's just that his fight IQ and his cardio are sus. He really tries to outmuscle and outpower people, and if he can't do that, and it gets extended, it's a wrap. He's not going to last very long, so ultimately, going with Gaziev. Go with Gaziev by TKO. I hate this fight. Mohammed Yaya versus Fernandez. I'm going to be quick with this one because it's not one of the fights that you want to really talk too long about. I'm leaning towards Fernandez. I'm going to be leaning towards Fernandez just because I don't think Mohammed Yaya is UFC level. I know he's coming off a loss, but it was a while ago. No, not a huge long time ago. I think it was in like October or something like that. It was against Mark Casey. Fernandez, he's okay. I just don't like Yaya because Yaya, he folds under pressure pretty easily. He fights at like a sparring pace, but Fernandez has more power to him. And if he tries to, he can also fight at a sparring pace, I've noticed. But if he starts throwing some pop on his shots, I could see him just folding Yaya, honestly. Under pressure, Yaya he just doesn't have any dog in him. Doesn't have any dog in him, and that's why I don't want to pick him, to be perfectly honest with you. He got absolutely dog walked by Trevor Peek. Surprised he survived, which is what leads me to believe that I don't think Kyle Fernandez is going to finish him, but I don't think he's going to win this fight. So give me Kyle Fernandez to win this by decision. Alonzo Medfield versus Azmat Murzakanov. I'm not picking Medfield. I'm not going to pick Medfield, man. You guys know the deal by now. I think I've covered Medfield, what, 3 times? I've covered Medfield 4 times. And I'm pretty sure, other than the draw against Jimmy Crute, which he should have won, but he lost on poor fight IQ, I've gotten all his fights correct. I've got him correct. I knew he'd lose to Olberg. I knew he'd beat Justin Jacoby and Jimmy Crute in the rematch. Medfield has power, he has skill, he has athleticism, but what does Medfield not have? Medfield does not have any fight IQ. Why would you bull rush and just throw your chin up in the air and try and fight Carlos Olberg like that? He got knocked out in 12 freaking seconds. He doesn't have fight IQ, simple as that. The Jacoby fight, he should have finished him. Crute, okay, he got the submission. I got no complaints about the second Crute fight, but he's got poor fight IQ. He's a guy who's just me big strong, and like that's it. He doesn't know what to do in most of these other cases and scenarios. He doesn't know what to do here, what to do there. He just knows violence, and that's not good enough with an Azmat Murzakanov who's got some really good hands. Simple as that. It's not like he's a fighting master genius, but he's got some good hands. I say his grappling is sus. That might be something to worry about if Medfield tries to take it to the ground. But the main thing with Medfield is he needs to just make it a technical kickboxing match. Simple as that. Technical kickboxing match and lots of kicks. I think he beat Azmat Murzakanov. But if he tries to just swing and bang with him, he's going to get banged down to the C leagues, to be perfectly honest with you. So I don't like Alonzo Medfield in the spot. I don't trust his brain to think of an intelligent game plan. I'm even going to Azmat TKO. And then we're going on to the main event, the main card, not main event, the main card. This is a pretty solid fight between Yoel Alvarez and Elvis Brennen. This is a hard fight to talk about too. I did mention earlier, Elvis Brennen, he is a dog. He is absolutely a dog. I know he lost his last fight out, but he kept fighting till the very end. It's just poor fight IQ in the last round that made him lose that, honestly. And he was going up against Orobai, who's a caveman or something. I don't know what the heck he is. But he's still good. Yoel Alvarez, on the other hand, he's also pretty good. It took an Armin Sarukin basically opening up his skull and leaking his blood all over the octagon to get him out of there. Otherwise, he's got some durability. He's pretty tough, and he's got a nasty ground game. If this goes to the ground, I know Elvis Brennen, he's a pretty good jiu-jitsu guy. He's at Shuto box, but I'm going to be going with Yoel Alvarez, to be honest with you, if it gets to the ground. But am I going to be picking Yoel Alvarez? I'm going to be picking Yoel Alvarez, and I'm going to pick him to win by TKO. You're probably wondering, Gomi, well, why would you pick TKO when you were just singing praises of his ground game? I don't think he'll go to the ground. I think these guys are going to stay standing. If it goes to the ground, it's going to be an opportunistic submission from either guy, or a club and sub or something like that. But I think this fight's gonna stay standing. I think these guys' ground games are gonna neutralize each other, but this is a hard fight. Elvis Brennen can definitely win this. This is a true 50-50, and I believe the odds reflect that as well too. Oof, Brenner is more of an underdog than I think he should be. Plus 154. I think it should be at minus 110 each guy. This is a hard fight. This is the hardest fight to talk about on the card, I think. Hardest or second hardest. I'm gonna go with Yoel Alvarez, but that's a 50-50, guys. That's a 50-50. So pick who you like, and there you have a good chance to make decent money. There's a little bit better money in Brenner, but pick who you like. Mackenzie Dern versus Lupi Godinez. I like Lupi. I liked Dern, but man, Dern's fight IQ and fighting ability, I feel, have deteriorated quite a bit, to be perfectly honest with you. She's fallen in love with her hands and wants to strike, and she needs to stop that. What got her to the song and dance was her grappling, and I felt that she could have better grappling in her last couple fights, but she just didn't. And now this is not the person to try and show your grappling along with him. Lupi Godinez, I think, is not the better grappler, but I think she's solid all around. I gotta see what the odds are before even talking about this. I feel, yeah, they have Dern as a favorite. Yeah, I don't like that. I just don't trust Dern, to be perfectly honest with you. She definitely is the better on the ground, but I think Lupi's good enough to keep it standing. She could confuse Dern, and if Dern keeps it standing, her striking is just butt. It's just butt. Lupi Godinez, I feel her striking has improved. It's never been a strong suit, but I think it's improved enough that she could win on the feet against Dern. If it goes to the ground, it's more of a battle, but I'm going to lean towards Dern. But I don't think he'll be going to the ground because I like Lupi Godinez's takedown defense at 84%. I don't think Mackenzie Dern's going to be getting any standing shays around her, but who knows? Ultimately, I'm going to be leaning towards the underdog. I'm going to be leaning towards Lupi Godinez. To be honest with you, I think she's going to get done by a decision. Yeah. Yep. Tony Ferguson taking on Michael Chiesa. I'm not doing a slide for this. Oh man. Tony Ferguson should have retired quite some time ago. Tony frickin' Ferguson. He's the kind of guy to go on the longest win streak in the division and then go on the longest losing streak in the division. My God. He's like BJ Penn, hold my beer. Sam Alvey, you're lucky. You're lucky you got that draw, because oh my God, I just don't know how he's going with this. I don't know, man. It's over. It's over for Tony Ferguson. And you guys know me, I'm not high on Michael Chiesa. I have correctly picked Michael Chiesa to lose all of his last 3 fights, if I'm correct. I gotta look it up. I'm a pretty well-known Michael Chiesa hater, to be perfectly honest with you. I just don't think Michael Chiesa is good. No knockouts, all submissions, and he's an overblown lightweight. Yes. Was on the channel, but I did pick him to lose against Sean Brady and Vicente Luque. I knew Vicente Luque beat the shizer out of him. And I actually picked that he'd lose to Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland was an underdog, wasn't he? I don't know. Regardless, Michael Chiesa ain't that guy anymore. He took years off, and now he's trying to slide his way. Even that's the thing. He took 2 years off, got his ass beat, and he took another year off. What are you doing, Chiesa? But he should beat Tony Ferguson. Like before, I'd say Tony was unsubmittable, unknockoutable. Then he's been knocked out, submitted. He's been primarily submitted nowadays. I don't know how Paddy took him to a decision, but Paddy said he was injured or sick or something like that. And it makes sense now after seeing his performance against Bobby Green. I don't see answers for Tony Ferguson in this matchup. I don't like this matchup for Tony Ferguson. I don't like any matchup for Tony Ferguson. I don't think it's Tony time. I don't think it's ever going to be Tony time again. Michael Chiesa, he's got the grappling, and that's really all he has, but he's very susceptible to Darce. And keep in mind, Tony, once upon a time, was the Darce Knight. So there's a chance Tony Ferguson could pull one last one out of his hat, get the Darce choke. But here's the thing. I don't know anymore. I've been saying I hope Tony Ferguson loses. I've been saying keeps hoping he loses so he retires, because I don't want to see this man get his ass beat anymore. But he just won't retire. I was like, made this whole long spiel that like, I pray the dear Lord that Paddy beats him so the man retires. And he's still going. So yes, Tony Ferguson will lose this fight. Michael Chiesa will win this fight. I don't know how. I'm not going to pick. This fight sucks. Chito Vera versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Wow, I've talked a lot on this card. I like this fight. I like this fight a lot. Chito Vera coming off that loss to Sean O'Malley. Deiveson Figueiredo coming off that win against Cody Garbrandt at the UFC 300. I will say I do have some concerns for Figueiredo because he's not looking as good and explosive and powerful as he used to be. He's always been a slower paced guy, but he used to just put it on you. And he looked so good in the Rob Font fight that like I was heavily favoring Rob Font. I saw that fight and I'm like, ooh, Deiveson Figueiredo all the way. He beat Cody Garbrandt, but he didn't look as good as I'd like. I think Garbrandt was tagging him. I think Garbrandt was getting the better of the exchanges. He won, but he really had to resort to the wrestling. But guess what? Guess what Chito Vera is just not good at? He's not that good at wrestling. I feel this fight will go a little bit like how the Jose Aldo fight went with Chito Vera. And I know that was a long time ago. That was, when was that? 2020, 4 years ago. So it's not good to really pull a lot of data like that from 4 years ago, but I think Deiveson Figueiredo has a lot of the same skill sets that current Jose Aldo had. I think he can put a beating on him. I think he can land shots, but we've seen nothing's gonna knock out Chito at this point. It's not gonna happen. Like, Jesus, man, this man's got such durability. I thought Sean O'Malley would finally be a person to crack him, and make no mistake, Sean O'Malley tried. Sean O'Malley hit him with everything in the kitchen sink, and yet somehow he was still standing. I'm going to be going with Deiveson Figueiredo to get it done by decision. I don't think he'll submit Marlon Vera, but Chito Vera. Why'd I say Marlon? I don't think he'll submit Chito Vera, but I think in ground control will let him win most of the minutes. He can land some good shots, but I'm going to favor Chito Vera on the feet. This is a hard one, and this is the second hardest one on the card. I wonder what the odds are. Figueiredo is a favorite. Wow, I don't know. I thought I'd be going with the dog. I don't know about that. Oh well, I'll be going with Deiveson Figueiredo. Shah Bullets versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. I can pronounce some Polski names. Shah Bullet. I know a lot of people don't like him. He didn't look that good at his UFC debut, but he's got some good power to him. Make no mistake, he's a pretty good, powerful kickboxer, and I think he's just overall very solid, to be honest with you. He beat Tricoli, which I saw coming, knees and punches. One of the only people to get a damn knockout. Oh no, I was on the Saudi card. Never mind. I thought that was on the Cannonier Imamov card. I don't know why, but regardless, I think Shah Bullet could definitely work on his wrestling. I think that's gonna be his weak point right there. But Michal Oleksiejczuk is not gonna be the guy to really exploit that. He does not go for takedowns. He's went for 0.73 takedowns. He has a 44% takedown accuracy. I could see him getting tagged up on the feet and trying to shoot. I can see that from Michal Oleksiejczuk, but that's just not gonna be his game. That's not gonna be his game. His game is going to be to try and knock his bloody head off, and I definitely think he has the power to do it, but I think I think Shara Bullet is overall just going to be the harder hitter. I just really think that Shara Bullet is going to hit him with some solid shots, and he's just going to be smarter in the exchanges, and I like it. I like it. So, give me Shara Bullet to win this fight by... I want to lean decision, but I want to lean TKO. Picked a lot of TKOs on this card. We saw that 7-fight decision on 304. But then again, these guys are fighting a proper time. I'm going to be going with Shara Bullet to get it done by TKO. And now we're on to the main event of the evening. Bantamweight bout between Cory Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. This fight was supposed to happen a year ago, and I was actually supposed to go see it. Instead, I saw Cory Sandhagen taking on Rob Font, and it's been a year. Cory Sandhagen's been out for a year. Believe he hurt himself, injured himself, or whatever the case is. Cory Sandhagen ultimately has not been as active, but Umar Nurmagomedov has also not been as active. But yes, bantamweight matchup. Cory Sandhagen is going to be 32 years of age, 17 wins, 4 losses, 7 knockouts, 3 submissions, 5'11" in terms of height. Switch stance, 70-inch reach advantage, a 1.36 takedown average, a 50.04 significant strike accuracy. He's a plus 230 underdog. Significant wins over Rob Font, Chito Vera, Song Yadong, Frankie Edgar. Umar Nurmagomedov is going to be 28 years of age, 17 wins, not a damn loss, 2 knockouts, 7 submissions, 5'8" in terms of height, orthodox stance, 69-inch reach advantage, 4.51 takedown average, a 74.49% significant strike accuracy. Normally, that is absolutely staggering. Most of those are ground strikes. A minus 280 favorite. Significant wins over Raoni Barcelos, Nate Maness, who just got cut from the UFC for whatever frickin' reason, and Brian Kelleher, who is not cut from the UFC for whatever frickin' reason. The main thing you're really going to notice is the disparity in terms of who they've beaten. Chito Vera, Rob Font, Song Yadong, and Frankie Edgar are far wins than anybody that Umar Nurmagomedov has on there. So that's a worry number 1 under Umar Nurmagomedov's cap. Umar has the wrestling advantage. He's out of the Dagestani camp. He trains at Habib. He trains with Islam. He trains with his brother Usman Nurmagomedov. They're all rapidly improving their striking. Their grappling is already the best of the division. This is a hard matchup for Cory Sandhagen. I see him being the underdog, but I definitely see plenty of avenues in which Umar Nurmagomedov, Cory Sandhagen could pull off the upset against Umar Nurmagomedov. His striking is better and unorthodox. I do think Umar Nurmagomedov's striking is good, and it's not like your striking defense is bad to get exploited, but just Cory is so unorthodox. His switch stances, how he moves with his shots, how he doesn't have a lot of power, he peppers you, but his knees are always going to be a vicious tool he could use. If Umar is not careful with his takedowns, he could catch a knee. Umar particularly wants to go for body locks. He wants to go in for clinches and trips and stuff like that. And that's going to be his main way of getting down Sandhagen. But even if he gets him down, yes, he was easily submitted by Aljamain Sterling years ago. But since then, he's really only been wrestling. Sure, he's been wrestling guys that really can't wrestle. But still, he's wrestling. His submission defense has to have improved. It has to have. But is it enough for Umar? Is it enough for Nurmagomedov? I don't like Umar's ground and pound, but his submission game's good, and his kicks are pretty good. It's a worrying fight for Sandhagen, but I think the experience is going to play a major factor in there to it. Both guys, like I said, have been relatively inactive. Umar less inactive, so that could be something to... note with Cory Sandhagen, but I think I like Sandman. This is a dark throw a little bit, but I think I like Sandman due to the unorthodox nature, his striking ability, and also the fact that he has the experience advantage. Umar's not fought good guys. Simple as that. Cory has. but this could be a very easy case of where the Dagestanis just prove their dominance, and I don't like denying them. I don't like picking against the Dagestanis because they're so good. They're so good, but I don't know, something's screaming at me, Cory Sandhagen, just like something was screaming at me on the night of the fight of Bilal Muhammad, and I was trying to tell it to shut up, but it was too loud. So yeah, give me Cory Sandhagen to win this fight by decision, but that's not a confident pick. That's a little bit of a dart throw. It's a hard one, but I definitely think we're disrespecting Sandhagen. It should, like, I'm fine with him being the underdog, but it should be a little bit closer than that. But well, if you're confident Sandhagen, you're gonna put money on him like I am, you get some good odds. You got some really good odds. So that is going to be, sounds like someone's on my door. That is going to be UFC Abu Dhabi. Solid card. I like it. It's really just the main card, actually. I chat talk a lot of the card. It's the prelims are not the best, but there's some fights that should be fun. Ultimately, I'm excited. I need to wash the taste of 304 out of my mouth. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comment sections below. Bye-bye.